Today I'm at Alton Towers. It's the first time in my life. It's the last day of Mardi Gras and it's a Sunday afternoon. It's like 1 p.m. and the park is dead. So I'm gonna start with Smiler. Anyway, first time here. I'm really excited to be here. I'm not a big fan of Mardi Gras, so I'm not really bothered about it. It's the last day. I'm gonna spend here like a couple of days. Looking forward for all the amazing coasters and just to see how this park is, because it's supposed to be the best park of Merlin in UK, I guess. Let's see. Today is the first full day in Alton Towers. Yesterday I just had a kind of warm-up session, few hours, and I've done most of the coasters. Today is the first day without Mardi Gras, so they are actually removing all the installation. They fenced up everything and they're gonna remove it in the next few days. The park opens at 10, but they let you in much earlier and people start queuing in front of the attractions they want to ride first. First impression of the park. So the famous tree line limit. So all the attractions need to be below the tree line. This is kind of surreal because when you walk around the park, there is nothing that really hits your eyes. The attractions are not in your face. They actually look like kiddie rides. You don't see anything, super high or say, oh my god, this is gonna be intense. They look small, they look short, they don't stand up, and they kind of feel not intense when you look at them, which is not true because some of them are really intense and of course most of them are dig down underground, so the height is there but you don't see it. The other thing is that it's not a theme park, it's actually a park. There is a massive lake, lots of greens and trees, and so you end up walking a lot. So there are ways to move around the park, there is a monorail and other things, but it doesn't feel a park with a high density of attractions. The attractions are in selected themed areas which are on the sides of the park, and in between there is nothing. So it doesn't feel like the usual theme park. But it's actually really nice because you don't see the rides and they are not one against the other, but they're not packed up as you usually see in a theme park. Today I'm gonna do everything, and as usual I'm gonna tell you what I liked and what I didn't like of Alton Towers. So let's start with what I liked. Well, I would say the park itself. I really like this peculiar layout of the park. It's a natural park with some themed area and attractions here and there, but it's not the usual theme park. The themed areas are pretty nice, nice level of theming, lots of details. For kids, there are 3 themed areas with lots of flat rides. Again, impeccable executions. All the rides are coherent with the theming, and there is quite a lot on offers in between. Carousels, flat rides, kiddie coasters, and other attractions. There are also playgrounds, so I would say the offer for kids is nice. There is also the David Williams area where Gangsta Granny is. Gangsta Granny, it's a kind of cheap, if you want, twin of Jumanji at Gardaland. Of course, lower investment, much smaller, but you on board on vehicles and you go through a dark ride through different scenes with storytelling. Here I'm gonna put a small footage of that.
On your royal march throughout the tour.
We're done for. They've made a roadblock. Hold on to your hats and glasses. I'm gonna jump in!
There's the crown.
What on earth are you doing in my palace?
I'm sorry, Your Majestical Majesty.
Who turned the lights out?
Wait!
Beyond this gap,
Then the offer keeps going with Duel, which is a laser gun battle dark ride, whatever you want to call it. It's pretty old. I think the laser part was retrofitted, but I might be wrong. Doesn't look like particularly nice or thrilling, but there are rumors that Merlin is working on a rebranding of his ride, so fingers crossed. Then there is a Mac-powered mine train. The station, it's heavily themed. On the other hand, there is no theming on the ride layout itself. So again, it's not intense. It's really a kiddie ride. Then the Jungle Rapids, which surprisingly are super dry. So the only way to get wet probably is to jump in the river, because you don't get wet at all. There is no theming on the ride itself, which is a pity. This ride shares the same indoor area with the mine train, so I think here there is potential for a rebranding should Merlin decide to invest. Then there is a Sea Life Aquarium, which is the typical execution of Merlin in their theme parks. Looks pretty identical to the Chessington one, with the amazing walkthrough tunnel at the end of the experience. And of course, it's got educational value as well for the kids visiting the park. But the top is clearly the coasters lineup. As mentioned before, they got this constraint: every single attraction has to be below the tree line. They turned a constraint into an opportunity because they started landscaping and digging down and creating unique layouts. So there is a massive interaction with the landscape, and everything is underground. All the rides have been digged down, and these created some unique, something that you are not going to see anywhere else in the world, layouts and ride experiences. Here you see Nemesis, which is an inverted B&M. It's pretty old, 30 years old. It was the first one in Europe, and still, thanks to this interaction with the landscape and lots of near misses, it's still one of the best B&M out there. It's going to be closed at the end of the season for retracking, but I hope they're not going to change a single thing because it's just amazing. Then you got Smiler, which is infinite coaster from Gerstlauer, with 2 lift chains, the second being vertical. Still holds the world record for inversions, being 14 in total. The theming is sick, and the soundtrack is just annoying, but it's a masterpiece. I really loved the theming and the fact that everything is coherent. So you got this amazing soundtrack everywhere, you got the staff uniform uniforms, you got the theming, the soundtrack, everything makes the experience really nice. It looks like they were on a mission to put as much track as possible in a compact space, and well, they delivered. The track layout is just insane. The experience is just as confusing as it should be. I had really high expectations. I wouldn't put this one as the best coaster in Alton Towers, but trust me, this is an experience and I really enjoyed, and the repeatability is really high as well. And then there is Oblivion, the first B&M dive coaster in the world. It's pretty old, there are newer implementations around the world with a much longer track. But that vertical hole at the end of the drop still delivers a unique experience. And I think this, despite being the first one in the world, has still got something to say, and it's definitely worth a ride. Then Rita, an Intamin launched coaster. Now, I had really low expectations for this one because everyone hates it, apparently. I actually enjoyed it. The track is nice, nice turns, nice airtime. It's not so fast, doesn't go high, fair enough, but it's still a pleasant and a thrilling experience, I would say.
You must escape. Go, go, go.
Then there is Spinball Wizard, which is a spinning coaster. Well, it's old, it's rough, had a major breakdown. Go and check my video in the playlist, but it's still fun. Then there is 13, which is a Vekoma family coaster. For being a family coaster, it's actually nice, a nice theming in the station and some interesting elements in the track layout. Then there is Galactica, an old school flying coaster. Now, I'm not a big fan of flying coasters in general, but the track layout is fine. It's not so comfortable as any flying coaster, but still worth a ride. And then Weakman, which is for me the best coaster in the whole Alton Tower Resort. It's a GCI implementation, same as Warden at Europa Park, for example, and those wooden coasters keep delivering. It's thrill, it's intense, it's noisy. This one in particular has got an amazing teaming queue line soundtrack, with centerpiece that interacts with the track for 3 times, has even got a pre-show in the station. So this one, it's a really a good execution. Probably it's a masterpiece from GCI, and for me it's the best coaster in the park. Another top is the theming of queue lines and stations. They set up the right atmosphere, they start immersing you in the riding experience. They are all nicely themed and properly done, so well done Merlin, good job. Then let's talk about the flops. Mardi Gras, no thanks. Man, all these arcades or money-making things trying to be themed same as the ride, they don't work, they just make everything look really cheap. Then, marketing. In the park there are lots of signs self-celebrating the rides, like the most intense, the fastest, the best, whatever. I think here Merlin is victim of their own marketing. For example, Rita, Queen of Speed, is not even the fastest coaster in the park. 13, it was marketed as the most thrilling experience in the world. It's actually a pretty mild family coaster. I think they should stop with those claims, because they are raising expectations too high, and then the riding experience is not really aligned to those expectations. They keep receiving lots of bad reviews about the ride experiences, which I think are actually due to their continuous marketing and claims. Another flop, which is due to the nature of Alton Towers, is that moving around the park is not so easy. There is a monorail, but be aware that when the park is closed, you might have to wait from 40 minutes up to 1 hour to get back to the parking lot. Now, I know that I sound like a broken record, but operations, again, they are a flop. So they are slow, they are complex, they are not dispatching train to a decent pace. Still feels like they are struggling with their operations, and it feels every time they are launching a rocket to the moon rather than dispatching a train. Also, they're not using all the trains they have. For example, Smiler was running on 3 trains. I think they should have 5. And Oblivion can work with a double train dispatch, so they're dispatching 2 trains at the same time, or a single train. Again, they were not using all the trains they got, and they moved from 2 trains operation during the weekend to a single train operation on the Monday, and the queue moved from 20 minutes to 50 minutes. Considering they are trying to sell fast tracks, you know what I mean. Another flop is the Retro Squad. So this is the second year in a row that we got 3 amazing flat rides, which would be embarrassing for a fun fair. I know they are desperate to increase the capacity, but those rides are just embarrassing. I would call them probably the Suicide Squad. They are cheaply branded. You can still see the real name of the rides, by the way, and they are just not good for Alton Towers. Now, if Merlin wants Alton Tower to be the best fun fair in UK, they are on the right track. If they want to compete against other European theme parks, and we know that Energylandia and Europa Park and Fantasyland and even Plopsaland have been raising the bar, then we need a decent investment and not those flat rides. 3 rides, one has been closed for days. And just this is just a desperate move, but not enough. Another flop or concern is about the offering. Now, the park struggled with attendance after the accident with Smiler in 2015. There is a massive gap in terms of offering. Lots of rides have been removed or closed down without replacement. There is a lack of flat rides, of dark rides, of water rides, or family attractions. There are no investments announced as of today, and they keep closing down rides, and keep in mind that from next year Nemesis as well is going to be closed. The Retro Squad is just a joke, so the park is in need of decent investments. I hope you enjoyed the video. There is a playlist, plenty of videos for every single ride, also the breakdown of Spinball, and if you like the video, please subscribe.